It pleases the council that you split that into two actions. The first being to acknowledge the addition of the waterline project, or the water line into the project scope. And then secondly, to acknowledge the use of the cash reserves, as we previously discussed, from the Water and Sewer Fund to be the foundation for the project so we can proceed with bidding as soon as possible. Recall that we don't intend to use those reserve funds in any way, but that we would use these one of these financing options depending upon your decision. That's just to let us go and get going on bidding so we can meet project schedule. So that the first recommendation is to act separately on those two pieces listed as item 1 on the report. Second, to open the public hearing regarding the USDA loan application and take testimony. And then after council deliberation, if it's your pleasure, to read the resolution by title only, which would authorize the application for the USDA loan, and then finally pass and post that in the usual manner.
Thank you. Council, action on the approval of the waterline project to be included into the E Street project itself?
So moved.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to approve the addition of the E Street waterline project into the scope of the E Street project. Any discussion by council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And action on using the cash reserves to underpin the project for the bidding process itself.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to allow the use of the cash reserves for the Water Sewer Fund to allow bidding to proceed on the waterline project funding. Any discussion from council? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. With that, I will open a public hearing regarding the USDA loan application and ask for any members of the public who would like to speak in regards to that application process.
Larry Keister of Washougal. I recommend that you do apply for the loan and have the finances available to update and repair the water line under E Street. There's nothing that makes the general public more irritated than seeing a brand new highway be put in and then a year later they dig it up and to do repairs. If they didn't understand the logistics of what was going on, it raises a lot of questions and a lot of concerns. I think if you get the water line repaired or replaced now, during the project, everyone will be perfectly happy.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on the issue? Third and final call for any members of the public that wish to speak. Okay. Hearing no further comments, I will close the public hearing and turn the issue back to council.
Without objection, I ask that the resolution be read by title only.
Second.
No second necessary.
Seeing no objections, so ordered.
A resolution authorizing staff to submit a loan application to the USDA for a 40-year loan for the waterline improvement portion of the E Street project with intent to pay off the loan in 20 years to save on interest expenses.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we pass and post in the usual manner.
Second.
I've got a motion and a second that we pass and post the resolution in the usual manner. Any discussion from council? Dave?
A point of parliamentary inquiry, if I may. This motion doesn't address the issue of where the funding is going to come from?
This actually would put in place the process for the USDA loan application.
Yeah, but it's just the application.
That's something that I would like very much to discuss.
You have the floor.
Thank you. There are two ways to fund this thing, and there may be others, but I'm not aware of them. One's through the stimulus funds and the USDA loan program. For reasons which I've mentioned before, including the fact that we're ruining the country by using stimulus monies that don't actually exist. It's funny money created by shenanigans between the Federal Reserve and the Treasury, or borrowed from foreign interests at rates of interest which exceed what we're going to get, what we're actually going to have to pay for it. So the country is losing on that. I don't want to destroy my country. Washougal doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's part of the United States. It's part of the state of Washington. Harming either one of those entities is not something that we should be doing here in Washougal. And borrowing this money, I think, would harm both of those entities. But lastly, the possibility of using the council bond. The costs are not that much different. When I was figuring it, it was about $300,000 difference over a 20-year period, which comes out to about $15,000 a year. Councilman Russell brought up a point tonight that I hadn't thought of, and that is that the cost of the extra reporting for the USDA loan reduces that $300,000 somewhat. Beyond that, I have concerns about call provisions on the loan, which I'd like to address in a second. The question would be, under what circumstances could the federal government call that loan and make it payable and due on the spot before we actually intended to pay it off, before the 20 years or 40 years is up? The other thing is that I am concerned that at some point the federal government is going to wake up, realize what they've done, and be put into a situation where in order to right the financial ship of this country, they're going to have to scramble to get some money. I would not be surprised to see them call in loans at that point. I'm sure that my learned colleague, Mr. English, would tell me that there are no legal provisions to do that.
I don't know whether there are or not, since we haven't seen the contract. This is just the application.
I understand. And that's going to come back for approval to the council, right?
Would, yes.
Okay, that'd be a good time to look at it. My other concern is that this administration has shown a propensity for ignoring the law and custom and tradition, and therefore I feel that we would be putting ourselves into financial jeopardy, possible financial jeopardy, by using the USDA stimulus fund loan. I like the councilmatic bond much better, and that allows us to retain control of the process without question. And at this time in our financial history, I think remaining in control of our financial future is a very good idea, because it's getting really rocky and tricky out there. I had called earlier today to Jim Dunn, and maybe I was asking the wrong guy, Jim, but I had asked about the call provisions on the loan. I understand that we'll find out about that when we actually get the application.
Well, we do have some information in communicating with someone that works with the USDA. There is a provision that the USDA can seek to have the community refinance with a different vehicle if circumstances would indicate that that refinancing would be favorable to the community, but they don't do that if it would be unfavorable to the community. So an example of that would be if bond or other financing, other federal program financing came available at an even more favorable interest rate at terms that would be more favorable to the community, or if our cash position became significantly more favorable, then they can look to have us